Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Yakakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishop, and the elders of GMS who as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Ainan. The title of this video is Petrodollar Soon to be Forgotten. Right? Ultimately, we have people bypassing the Humal Strait, right? By using the yuan to purchase the fuel. And this basically puts it into the petrodollar. And that is basically, America using the dollar, to buy oil. So instead of that, people will use other currencies. So petrodollar is soon to be forgotten. AI overview, the 50-year-old petrodollar system where Saudi Arabia exclusively priced oil in USD, which is the US dollar, is facing significant erosion as of 2026, accelerated by geopolitical shifts. The rise of the petro yuan and the expiration of the U.S. Saudi pact, right? Because there was a pact where Saudi will only sell oil, using the dollar, but that expired. It says while not an overnight collapse, the shift toward a multipolar, multi-currency world trade threatens long-term U.S. dollar dominance. And that's because America is at its end, right? The kingdom is falling. What is the petro yuan? The petro yuan is the use of the Chinese yuan to price and settle international oil trades, right? Which is something probably not wasn't really used, right? People wouldn't consider using something else other than the dollar, right? It says serving as a direct alternative to the U.S. dollar denominated petrodollar system. Says driven by China, the world's largest oil importer, this move seeks to reduce reliance on the U.S. financial system, encourage global use of the yuan, and leverage China's role as a primary trade partner for oil exporters like Russia, Iran, and potentially Saudi Arabia. Right. So all these things points to the end of the petrodollar, which points to the end of America ruling the world. And we understand to know that this is the last kingdom to rule before our kingdom is set up, right? As it says in Daniel, the second chapter. So here's a video, and they're asking a question.
Why has Iran let this French cargo ship through now?
And how did the ship get through? That's the question there, Catherine. Here's what's interesting about this story. It's not the fact the ship sailed through the Strait of Hormuz, right? There have been dozens of ships which have been able to sail through the Strait of Hormuz, the very dangerous, treacherous run. Most of those, almost all of them, have been affiliated with either Iran, with the UAE, with China, with India, with Saudi Arabia, so-called friendly or not hostile nations, i.e. certainly not Western European nations, certainly not the United States. So how'd the French ship get through? Well, according to shipping data, and remember, like you said, this was a French shipping group which owned this ship, and it apparently entered the Strait of Hormuz and took a route very close to an Iranian island called Larak Island. And why is that significant? Because Lloyd's List is actually referred to it, and they track shipping and shipping data. They refer it to Tehran's toll booth, meaning that taking that route implies that ships that pass by Larak Island have been granted permission. And why? Because they paid the toll. They paid for it. What's interesting there is, if it is confirmed that the French paid for its ship to get through, not only would this be the first instance of a ship owned by a Western European shipping company being able to sail through the Strait of Hormuz, it would presumably also be the first instance in which they paid for it, and would really be, in a sense, a snub. Right back at Donald Trump, who famously said in his address, which didn't really say much the other night, he basically said to the Europeans, go get it, go get the oil. Don't be cowardly. It's theirs for you to take. And essentially what the French are saying is, no, easier said than done, Mr. President. We're not going to get the oil because it's treacherous, and we'd be putting our ships and our crews in imminent lethal jeopardy. But we will try to get oil through, as you suggest, but we will pay for it to make sure that it's done safely. So implicitly, the message from France, if it's borne out that they paid for the ship to pass through, is, you know what? Here's the new world you created, Mr. Trump, Mr. President. And in your new world, guess what? Ships like ours, French, European, U.S. ships, now have to pay for the right of passage for the Strait of Hormuz. That was not the reality before the war started, when passing through that strait was free.
Unintended consequences.
Yeah, so I got two precepts. Obadiah 1 and 7, right? We get the NLT, because this is opening the doors for conversations, between America's so-called allies and America's enemies, where now the allies and the enemies are conversating with each other and figuring out who is the actual problem here. Obadiah 1:7 says, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you and you won't even know about it. So with all these backdoor deals and talking behind the scenes, this is easy to come up. It can happen easily. All right. So and I want to get Revelation 17 and 12. It says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet." That's not the one. Revelations 17 and 16. It says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest that come a beast, thee shall hate the Lord." All right. So America has set up its system with NATO and EU, right, in itself. Right. That's the system, the beast system. Right. And the whore is America. The 10 horns is NATO EU. And because of what's happening here, in the world right now, they're getting mad at America with the decision that America is making. And you can see it on the news. Italy had to, have them turn around one of the planes that they wanted to land on one of the airport bases. But Italy was like, you didn't reach out to us as a partner and let us know things beforehand. So America is making a lot of the wrong decisions, and the 10 horns are hating her. It says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, thee shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." So ultimately, they will burn her with fire, right? They're going to side with Russia and Iran, right? This is James 5:1. It says, "Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasures together for the last days, and going to spend money, even the petrodollar. It's about to be done away with. Individuals stacking up these dollars, and meanwhile, the whole dollar system is about to collapse. Right? America is about to be done. The richest profit not in a day of rat, right? Especially the dollar. People are talking about gold and silver in these last days. Even copper. It says, "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crying. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth," right? The Lord of heaven's armies, right? So the Most High Yahweh Bashmi Shah is going to come with his armies, the chariots and the angels, right? Thousands of angels. 20,000 chariots and thousands of angels, as the scriptures say. All right, we know Yahweh Shah's pulling up. It's on to 2nd Ezra 13. It says, "You have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. You have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed the just, and you will not resist you." All right. So to this day, this devil is still just like what John 10:10, "The thief comes not but to steal, kill, and destroy." This devil is doing just that even to this day, right? And his end is near. All right. So I just want to throw it out there. People are using the yuan. America's allies are using the yuan to, travel the Humal Strait free with no problem, not getting attacked or nothing, right? NATO said they're not a part of this war, right? Usually, you have the article, 4 and 5. I believe, where NATO is supposed to get involved in the war, but they said we're not getting involved in the war. And not only that, a NATO member was able to go through the strait with no problem. But if America tried that, most likely they will be attacked. All right, so Lord willing, we edify from the lesson. Shalom to the hope of light which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.